thought it'd be fun to share our life with you a little bit in more intimate details. This is our tiny house. We've been living aboard our sailboat now for 7 months, and it has really been no compromise in terms of our comfort, the amenities we've enjoyed. I mean, it was an adjustment, to be honest, for sure, coming from a nearly 3,000 square foot home to moving aboard our sailboat. But really, we've been very, very comfortable. It hasn't been a major lifestyle change. I mean, of course, it's been a major lifestyle change in the sense that we moved to a new community. We're in a completely different town now. It's a very different lifestyle, of course, but it's been comfortable. It's been really enjoyable, and a lot of people who are considering alternative lifestyles, really, once you get your mind wrapped around just living simply, a little more simply, we're very aware of our water consumption now because we have to refill our water tanks. I mean, we have about 130 some odd gallons of water, fresh water, that we can carry aboard, and we have a water maker as well, so we can make fresh water by desalinating the salt water. So it just causes you to be more conscientious of what kind of consumption you are using. And same, we cook with gas, we cook with propane tanks, so we carry about 20 pounds rather of propane at any given time, 25 pounds of propane at any given time. And 25 pounds of propane costs $25 basically to refill. And with that 25 pounds of propane, we can easily cook for, I would say, about 2 months. At least I would say 2 months. So I mean, it's quite reasonable, and there again, we're very conscientious of how much fuel we're using. We heat our boat with a combination of, well, we're at the marina, electric power, which you can hear probably the electric fan running in the background, as well as our diesel heater, which I'll show you in a moment. The diesel heater is very, very efficient and burns very, very cleanly without any soot, right? Or very, very little soot. So I mean, these are just some of the realities of living aboard a boat in the winter in particular. In the summer, we use even less energy because it's warm, right? So if anything, we're struggling to make sure there's enough air coming through the cabin and keeping it cool. But let's take you on a little bit of a walk through any other questions people have about, the lifestyle change, our costs of living and so on. We can break it down a little bit more specifically for you, but basically we spend about $400 a month on our moorage. That's for our dock, and that includes hydro, water, shower and washroom facilities, and Wi-Fi. So I mean, that's everything you would have if you were renting an apartment, essentially. The only thing that we pay for in addition to that is our own fuel needs, right? Like I said, with propane and diesel. And in the winter, we're using the diesel to heat our space. It's always about 22 degrees in here, despite being sub-zero temperatures outside at night. It's usually getting down to around -1 or 2 at night now. So yeah, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what our expenses are. And then of course, food and beer, which is probably the largest expense in our life now, and feeding her, because she's special. She needs a very, very particular diet, little baby. Yes, but let's take you on a little bit of a tour, and feel free to ask us any questions you may have about life aboard and what the realities of tiny house living are. It's really great. We love it. Starting aft, I'm standing right here in the cockpit, and it's quite chilly, so we have the tarp up here as well to protect us from the rain and winds a little bit throughout the winter. But let's start from the back of the boat, and we'll take you for a little bit of a walk around. So obviously our tender is situated here, and we have a ton of space back here on the aft deck here, and below us here is our hatch to the aft cabin, or captain quarters, and that's where we enjoy a lovely night's sleeps. So ample space in the cockpit. It's quite well protected back here, and we have have an absolutely lovely day out here today. Cold, but very lovely. Alright, so let's move below. We'll show you a lot more of the workings and riggings of the boat when we're back to sunnier days and sailing days in the spring when it's warm enough that we won't actually take her off the dock. But for now, we'll give you an idea of what our life is like below. So moving from the cockpit now into the main salon, and you know, I'll caveat this with that it is winter time. We are currently living in this space, so it's not exactly the tidiest it's ever been, right? But this is our main salon, the main living space here, and ample seating here, very, very comfortable spot to hang out, and very, very bright. We have the sunshades on, so you can see they're kind of milky. The windows are milky right now, but that's just because we have the sunshades on, and by contrast, that's what it looks like when the shades are off. But we have the shades on, not because the sun's killing us in the winter time, but more so for privacy. So when people are walking up and down the dock, we can see out, albeit milky, but people cannot see in. So it is quite lovely and private. You coming in, bud? No, you can hang out. You can stay there. It's okay. She's enjoying the sunny outdoors. So panning around here, I'll show you a little bit of another advantage of our main salon. So this is the main salon seating area where we spend time on our computers. We don't actually talk to each other. We just email and text each other, and maybe Skype or face chat or anything but human interaction. So it's really a beautiful space. It's quite bright and airy. Like I said, we got a couple projects going on, so you can see I've got stuff sitting around and whatnot. So it's not as tidy as it is when we're heading off on sailing adventures. When we're heading off the dock, everything's tidy, put away, so it's not sliding around. But it's our little shoe rack, of course. Captain's chair is sitting back there, and our grab bag, for our ditch bag rather. So very large, beautiful space here. We are very, very comfortable here, enjoy it quite a lot. And of course, the captain's chair with auxiliary stereo port there. We plug our laptops in and then run the laptops through our flat screen TV here. And this is ostensibly our entertainment system. So when we're sitting here, we can enjoy some TV. It's quite lovely. And all the controls and buttons and doohickeys for when we're underway, radar, depth finder, fish finder, all that fun stuff. And I'll get a lot more into the technical aspects of the boat, but for now we thought it'd be fun to show everyone around our tiny home. So here we are in the main salon, and we're going to take a step down into the galley. So the galley is actually right down here below the salon. And moving down, we have a lovely little seating area here to starboard, and again, it's being used mostly for storage right now. We've got our pressure cooker there, and if you haven't ever used a pressure cooker, my god, they are a huge energy saver. You can cook huge roasts and stuff in a matter of 30 minutes, and all your potatoes and everything thrown in there, and that saves you a ton of propane, you know, because it'd take you at least an hour or more, and you know, putting a roast in the oven and cooking on the burners, you go through, I don't even know how many, 3 times as much the energy at least versus using those. Anyway, enough plugging that, but this is the seating area and a little bit of a library, and this is right here to starboard, and very bright. This boat's really beautiful in terms of how many portholes there are and hatches as well. You can quite easily look up here and inspect the rigging or what have you. Alright, so again, panning back around from where we just were. This is the seating area, and large pantry cupboard. And of course our coffee station. So me being the delicate little flower I am, I very much enjoy my lattes every morning. And when we're on dock power, it's just simply a 220 system or 110 AC, and you can usually use many of the appliances you enjoy at home. So we make lovely coffee and lattes every morning. There's our computer system stuffed in there, and our AC panel for when we're on shore power. And panning around, you can see the salon where we just came down from. We removed a microwave and rather replaced it with a little oven. And again, that was an efficiency decision. Microwaves take a ton of power, and I don't know, my wife and I are just not too keen on microwaving food. So you can throw the food in there and heat it up in a lot less time with a lot less energy than using the propane oven. So we do a fair amount of cooking in that, and we've actually used that off battery power before as well, and it's quite efficient. I mean, it takes a fair amount of draw when it's running, but you can cook quickly, so you're not running it for long. And of course, the galley. So this is where we do, you can see again up above, there's a lot of light coming down from the salon, our huge windows overhead, and lots of storage here. So double stainless steel sinks, our propane oven. It's a 3-burner propane with an oven. There's a cutting board that you can situate on top of the 3-burner stove to give you even more counter space, and tons of storage in here. We've got a lot of room for our dishes and other little culinary delights. Tons and tons of room, plates and such. Sinks, it's not very clean right now. And freezer and fridge. So the freezer works just as off, runs off a simple little refrigerator compressor down in the engine room, and as you can see, it keeps everything quite cold. There's ice in there. We probably should actually defrost that, but the ice is doing half the work. So tons of space, freezer, and in our fridge, you again see there's a lot of room here. And we've devised of this system here whereby we can move containers in and out of the way. So that's Caius's food container. She's the only one with a proper diet in here. And then we've got another little condiments container. So you can pull out what you need as you need it. We have our meat bin, and underneath of that there's cheeses. So you can grab each bin and pull them out and close the fridge again without using a lot of energy or letting a lot of the cold air escape. Caius's food back in there. And that's a clever little way to keep your foods organized rather than rolling around in the bottom of the fridge, and they get in and out of here quickly. And again, it's winter time, so we have all of our clothes hanging up here. It's a makeshift coat rack now. But here's what's keeping us warm in the winter: this beautiful Sigmar diesel heater and the 0-point energy fan here, the Eco Fan. These are cool. It just runs simply off of a charge that's created from the heating base plate and the cooling fins, which creates an electrical current which runs the little tiny electric motor. So it does a good job of moving some air around that would otherwise not be moving around, or that would otherwise need to be moved around using our little helifans, which draw off the battery. So whenever possible, while we're off dock, we want to minimize our energy consumption as much as possible. But this thing is beautiful and very, very efficient, and we keep our cabin typically our cabin's about 22 degrees all winter long, despite the sub-zero weathers. So moving forward, we have our hanging locker right here behind the jackets, which we have all of our life jackets in, quite a bit of space. And right in front of the galley is the day head. So the day head is exactly what we use it for. Washroom in the day, and this has the ability to pump your waste into the holding tanks, or you can pump directly overboard, which is something that we'll typically do for urine only and while we're at anchor. So we can minimize the amount of waste that we're carrying aboard. But like I said, we do divert our solid waste into the holding tank. And then of course, moving all the way forward is the V-berth, which right now is full of stuff as storage mainly, because I have several projects on the go. So here's our brand new Genoa that needs to be installed. Our brand new inner forestay cable. Let's see, our cover, our sunbrella cover, which needs to be repaired. And then some other projects here, our NOx system, which I'll go into more detail about another time, but that is the NOx system and the roller furling, the Salon roller furling that will be going on as well. So this is mostly full. It's actually quite a fairly large and lovely space. You don't get a sense of it right now because it's full of stuff, but it's very bright, really lovely space with the large opening hatch and 2 portholes, the helifan there as well. So it's actually a really beautiful space. Morgan and I, when we had our parents staying with us, we gave them the aft cabin and we slept in here, and it's plenty of space, tons of room, and beautiful views out into beautiful British Columbia. Alright, so that's the V-berth. Beautiful space. Quite crowded right now with many projects on the go. And I'll take you moving aft now. This is Caius World down here. That's Caius World, and then again, of course, tons of storage underneath. This is where I have my recording gear right now. Moving aft. Again, excuse the mess because we are just kind of hunkered down for the winter, but this is the walkway, pass through, if you will, into this massive aft cabin. So hanging locker space, tons of hanging locker space in this vessel. So we keep all kinds of clothes and climbing gear and such in there. And this is underneath the cockpit, where we have what we call our rope locker, basically. So dock lines, with the boom preventer, spare rigging is all right here. And then we have this beautiful roller cabinet here. And this actually is quite clever because this will pull down accordion style, and that will cover up this entire desk and keep everything secure while you're underway. And a massive, tons of headroom you'll see here. There's absolutely tons of headroom overhead. It's just a massive amount of space for a 42-foot sailboat. It's just incredible. So this is our queen-sized double athwart ship layout. So it runs from port to starboard across the back of the cabin. Tons of space again for clothing. Huge amounts of storage. And a drawer set up here. And again, even more storage below, underneath the mattress. And what right now you'll see is the mattress is slightly raised up. and we point a heater at the mattress, and that's to make sure that we're keeping condensation at bay, because we don't have any leaks in the boat, but we do have to be concerned with condensation, being it's warm inside and cold outside. So you have to keep air moving through all these spaces, which is why these doors and such are slatted, so air can move through these spaces. And what we've also done is put drainage tile, as you may or may not be able to see, it's quite dark, but we used plastic drainage tile so that the mattress sits down directly on top of the drainage tile and not directly on top of the plywood base, and that way a little bit of air will, in theory, move around underneath the mattress itself as well. So that's how we keep condensation in check, and so far we've had very little issues. A combination of heaters, and we very rarely even use the dehumidifier, but we have the dehumidifier as well. And this is the large ensuite head and shower. So right now, again, we're not showering in here over the winter to keep moisture at bay, and that way I can go up and have super hot showers up in the bathrooms as part of the marina and keep the moisture out of the boat. I do prefer showering in here. It actually works great. Our hot water heater is excellent, and when we're underway, the engine itself provides us with hot water. So you can have great warm or hot showers right here, and it's excellent. But like I said, to keep moisture at bay. So there's the only little leak we have, is we've got a little bit of water you can see leaking down the bulkhead here, and that's coming from underneath our propane locker. So I'll get to that, but it's really neat. It's a aluminum pan, floor pan there, and a little sump pump there that you can see under that little hatch. And again, there's some of that drainage tile, so that's what's underneath the bed right now. And we just put that on the floor with the extra tiles we had left over. We just set it on the floor because it's cold in the morning when you're barefoot and you jump out of bed and you're brushing your teeth. That aluminum pan is quite chilly, so we can stand on that and keep our feetsies warm. So right now there is a little toilet under there, you can see, but we have our shoes, one of those hanging closets organizers with all our shoes is sitting there, because we found if it was in the closet, it was dampening airflow from moving around the closet and creating spots where mold could grow. So we wanted to keep the airflow moving through those spaces. We removed the shoe racks, and this is one of these things where it's like we'll make a decision. I haven't worn any of the shoes in there. Morgan hasn't really worn any of the shoes in there, so we'll, you know, these are all things that we kind of give ourselves 6 months to see what we did take with us, very little things that we did take with us from the house. If it's not being used and this is, you know, tying up space like this is right now, then we'll get rid of it. So that shoe hanger, we'll probably just get rid of it and put the shoes somewhere, the ones that we're actually using somewhere. But this is an awesome space. It's a huge space and really very, very functional. With like this medicine cabinet style doors here, tons of space, tons of storage, and then underneath there's just an incredible amount of space underneath the sink here as well. So storage is wonderful, and in terms of technicals, you can't really see, it's dark down there, but there's 3 seacocks easily accessible right there. And the accessibility to all the seacocks in this boat is amazing. Space for towels, this huge space back here, and again this lovely little porthole here to let in natural light. So this is our home now, and I mean, granted, far smaller than a 3,000 square foot house, but I mean, this is so comfortable. It's so comfortable. There's tons and tons of room in here, all the storage you would ever need. And this is what we're finding is really exciting about this lifestyle, is that we're realizing how much we didn't need, right? And everything we use now is something that we have a need for, and anything that isn't necessary is well, so far donated, most of it. And it just makes us really consider the purchases that we do make now. There's obviously our dehumidifier, which is a little extra help if we're finding that we're cooking and it's moist in here. But yeah, like I was saying, there's just we realize just how little you can live with and live comfortably with, and how much is just filler. You know, when we had our house, we were just trying to fill rooms so they didn't look empty, and it was just like an exercise of gluttony. I felt, we both felt, and this is just such a wonderful lifestyle, such a simple lifestyle, and we have everything we need and the ability to take our home anywhere we want to go in the world, which is just fantastic. We're truly very comfortable, very happy here. So I hope you've enjoyed our little tour here. This should give you a better idea of what our lifestyle is like, and again, any questions anyone has, we're happy to answer them, and we're looking forward to bringing you more about our lifestyle and adventures. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on the next video.